Welcome to the Insurance Revolutionized podcast brought to you by Success Without Sacrifice. I am your host and coach, Cherie Sauer, and here on the podcast, we are on a mission to revolutionize the way women in insurance do business. We will be interviewing women who are changing the face of insurance, as well as giving you tips and inspiration to grow your agency to new heights without sacrificing what is most important to you. Let's get started. Welcome to day 2 of the Agency Owner to CEO Challenge. So if you are just joining us and you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, go back and listen to our last episode. So we're doing the last 3 episodes of season 1, and we're finishing out with a Agency Owner to CEO Challenge. You're welcome to listen to this, but it won't make much sense unless you go back and listen to day 1 of the Agency Owner to CEO Challenge. So with that being said, I can't believe we're almost wrapping up season 1. Oh my goodness. But today we're going to be talking about efficiency. So this is the second pillar of our Agency Owner to CEO program. Efficiency is where it's at, right? So when you first started your business, you had to be everything, you had to do everything and be everyone. But as you grow and as you scale and as you add team members, that no longer becomes sustainable. You can't continue to grow and scale if you don't have the time and energy to lead your team and to lead your company forward. So in order to do that, you have to be able to increase efficiency, right? Whether that's through systems, processes, team members, outsourcing, delegating, automating, all of those different things. So I am never, as a coach, going to come in and tell you what you should do. I am always going to ask you questions and help guide you and lead you in the direction that's in alignment for you. And I think that this is the biggest thing for business owners, because you can have a business coach come in and tell you that you need to do X, Y, Z, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, is X, Y, Z fulfilling you and making you want to stick around for your business and to serve your team members really well? Or are you leaving at the end of the day exhausted, working all the time, never having time for yourself, not having time to invest in your relationships and be present in the way that you want to be present? Okay, so we talked about in the day 1 challenge is really understanding where your energy is going, because you can't increase efficiency without really understanding that first. So if you missed that episode, please go back and listen to that, because in order to really increase efficiency and for this to make sense today, you really have to have that energy assessment done. So let's talk about efficiency. So when I talk about efficiency, I'm not just talking about automating, delegating, outsourcing, all of those things. I'm talking about we need to get you so that you are in your zone of genius 80% of the time. Because when you're in your zone of genius 80% of the time, guess what? That's when you get to show up big. That's when you get to show up the way that you want to show up, not only for your business, for your employees, for your clients, but also for yourself and for your family. And that's the biggest thing I see with business owners. We are high achievers. And a lot of times we will put ourselves last in order to push toward our goals and in order to take care of everybody else around us. So efficiency. This is like one of my favorite things, next to energy, or they're all my favorite things. I can't really say this is my favorite because they all go together. So, if you did that energy assessment where I had you write down everything that you were responsible for, right, in business and in life, and then you rated it on a scale of 1 to 5. I wish you guys were on here with me because I would love to hear what you came up with, and kind of like your ahas of like, oh, I didn't even realize that like I hated that so much, or that was stealing so much of my energy, or that I'm doing so many things that are really draining my energy. And what I really want to be doing is these things, right? So if you guys are on our email list, you saw that I talked about my client Heather, and she was just in this place, right, where she was doing all of these things that she had taken on in the beginning of their business and then just never outsourced or let go of them. And sometimes this can be because of mindset and limiting beliefs, which we're going to talk about in day 3. Sometimes it can be because you just don't realize how much time and energy it's actually taking, right? Like it's just like, it's easier sometimes to just do it ourselves. It's like when you try to outsource like laundry to your children or dishes and they put stuff away in the wrong way, or they like their drawers are hanging out of, clothes, and sometimes it's just easier to do it yourself, right? And so when we get stuck in that as a business owner, it really prevents you from being that CEO, being that leader that you need to be. So when we talk about efficiency, we really want to get you out of your zone of excellence. So I want to talk about the difference between agency owner and CEO. So agency owner, 80% of your time is probably spent on servicing clients, on putting out fires, on things that are in your zone of excellence. Like you're probably doing marketing and day-to-day operations and scheduling and figuring out IT issues and, just all the little like things that add up that aren't really affecting your bottom line. They're more just they have to get done because you have to put these fires out and get these things done, right? Whereas CEO, 80% of your time is spent on leading your team, creating the vision for your company, right? Setting goals, really increasing the bottom line of how do you actually grow and scale your business to where you want it to be. That's when I talk about efficiency, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So, that's why understanding your energy is really important, because we want to make sure that you're in your zone of genius. And to get into your zone of genius, you have to really understand your energy. So how do you get into how do you make that shift from being in your zone of excellence into your zone of genius? Again, it comes down to doing that energy assessment. And looking at that energy assessment and saying, okay, like, do I really need to be doing this? So, my example with our client, Heather, she was doing like the inventory, ordering everything for the office. She was doing IT services. She was doing social media. She loves marketing. She loves sales. She loves clients, but she was stuck in doing all of these like extraneous things that she felt like she had to do, partly just because it takes time to train somebody else how to do it, right? And you have to have the people to be able to do it. You have to have the team members. And so that's part of efficiency too, is knowing who to hire for specific roles. Like, yes, there's like general, customer service representative, producer, agent, personal lines account, those hires, but then there's also understanding like the outsourcing piece of it, right? Social media, having somebody come in and help you with hiring. This is something that we just added to our list of things in the way that we help agency owners. One of our previous clients came and asked me if I would help them with their hiring process, because I understand their team culture, right? I know the type of personality, I know the needs that they have. And so we started vetting all of the candidates. And I can tell you, after doing that, I was like, agency owners should not be vetting candidates, right? It is so time consuming. There's so many things else you could be doing. Yes, they need to do the interview piece of it, right? And get to them. But the initial, like, looking through resumes and the applications and, the initial, like, phone interview, that can all be outsourced and done by somebody else really easily, especially if that person knows your culture and what you're looking for and the type of person you're looking for. Okay, so it's not just like hiring an HR person, that's fine, but make sure whoever's doing that vetting for you really understands how that person that's going to be hired is going to fit in the grand scheme of your business. Also, like, outsourcing, whether that's to VAs, like I said, social media managers, maybe it's hiring an intern. There are a billion different ways that you can increase efficiency, right? And that's part of, I think, where business owners, agency owners get stuck, is not knowing what to do or what to outsource or who to hire, and it just all feels overwhelming. It's all just one more thing to add to the list. So your day 2 challenge is to look through your energy assessment list, and I want you to highlight or make a star next to the things that somebody else could do. Here's the thing. Whether you can pay that person right now, doesn't matter. I want you to take that out of it. Again, I want you to take the logic out of it for a second. The things that where you're like anything that's below a 3 on that scale is something that should be outsourced, automated, or delegated. So I want you to go through and star those. And the things that you rated at 3 and above, so 4 and 5, those are the things that should stay in your wheelhouse, right? Especially the 5s. Okay. And even some of those things, maybe you can outsource, automate, delegate. I don't know without looking at it. But the point is you really need to look at a big picture. And, in day 3, so the last day of the challenge, we're going to talk about ethos. We're going to talk about your mindset and your limiting beliefs, because I can come in and tell you, okay, this is what your energy was. This is how we can increase efficiency. This is what we should do. But if you have fear of releasing control of social media, of releasing control of somebody doing hiring for you, of delegating somebody to your team to take on clients that you no longer need to take care of. And so I'll share one more story of a client who she felt like any client that was personally referred to her, that she herself had to take care of them. And a lot of times that's just fear-based thinking, right? So yes, you can do like the initial onboarding, but there's no reason that the rest of your team can't take that on. And if they can't, is it a trust issue if your team can't take care of them? Is it a fear that your clients are going to leave you? Because if they're coming to you as the agency owner, they should trust you and your team, right? So maybe it's building rapport and trust with the rest of your team to make sure that your clients are comfortable with them. So that's what I mean by there's a lot of limiting beliefs and mindsets that once we see this, and it's like, oh yeah, like here's how we can do this. But then all of a sudden this wall comes up of like, nope, I can't do that, or I'm not comfortable doing that, right? So we're going to talk about that in day 3, of really diving in and looking at what are the mindset and the limiting beliefs that are really keeping you stuck in that zone of excellence.
Thank you so much for listening to the Insurance Revolutionized podcast today. We know there is a lot on your plate, so it means the world to us that you stopped in to give us a listen. We hope you will join us each week as we dive into topics such as mindset, goal setting, productivity, self-care, and so much more. We want to inspire more women to have success without sacrificing what is most important to them, and we need your help. If this podcast has inspired you, would you do us a favor? Would you take a minute to leave us a rating and review or share with your friends? Let's change the face of insurance for women. Until next time.